In every generation, they tried to annihilate us, but we prevailed. And for the world, I have a message. We are here to stay, whether you like it or not. I'm Israel Chai.
Battle Line Podcast, we have a very special episode. As you can see, we're in studio. We're at the Team House. Our friends at the Team House have let us use this studio. And I said to D, you guys who watch the Team House know the producer for the show, we'll probably be here a couple more times before the year ends because Kirk Spradley wants to come in studio. And we'll have Jack Murphy in studio for this book, for We Defy, available for pre-order now. Jack is extremely well researched when it comes to the history of special operations, and that's what this book really is. But for this episode, we have a great guest. We have Holocaust survivor, IDF veteran, Sami Steigmann. Absolute honor to have him on. Before we get to it, I have to say, some of you guys listen to the show because I actually could see from the demographics and stuff. Simplecast actually shows this on YouTube. Some of you guys are listening at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because you can't fall asleep. And if you're one of those people listening right now, this is my message to you. You gotta try Ned's CBD. It is amazing for sleep. They also have their sleep blend. They have their mellow magnesium. In this day and age, if you're not getting a good night's sleep, you do not need to go to a doctor and get hooked on some prescription pills. Ned is the best. It's all natural. All their CBD is grown in Colorado, and it's something Chris and I use regularly.
Yeah, for several years now, and the brain blend is actually really good. It's got a little, if you don't like the CBD taste, which I like, the pine nut taste, there's a little little lemon tang in that brain blend, and it works well, and it calms yourself down, and they're all good for you. We've been using them forever, and the pain relief balm is fantastic. So guys, try Ned. It's all U.S. made, all locally sourced there in Colorado, where I used to live in western side of the state. Wonderful area to grow crops and grow food at, and wonderful company in Ned. And I said their products are outstanding, and they've been helping me get healthier as the years have gone on here, and I've gotten older. Definitely gotten older.
So check them out, guys. You'll get a great discount as a first-time customer with Ned, and that's helloned.com/battleline. Link is in the description, HELLONED.com/battleline. With that, let's get right over to Sami Steigmann.
From Kansas City to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battle Line Podcast.
The switch is on.
Chris, we'll make it fun, okay? We'll make it fun.
All right, I'm keeping that in there. So
that's the best intro ever, right there.
Sure.
Best one we've ever had in 280 some shows, right there.
The switch is on. Battle Line Podcast. We are in the Team House studio, and we have a very, very special in-studio guest, none other than Sami Steigmann, Holocaust survivor, Israeli Air Force veteran, published author, motivational speaker. You've done so much.
Chick magnet galore.
Chick magnet,
like we were talking about before we even started filming. Yeah, I want those stories first. No, we'll do those later, Sam.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But it's an honor to have you in studio. And actually, Chris knows this, and I told you this in the car because I picked you up. I came across you because Kosha Dills, who's a rapper from around here, who's actually very good, did a video with you where you confronted the Satmar Jews. And for those who don't know, the Satmar population, a lot of them live in Williamsburg. They're they're Jewish people who are vehemently anti-Israel, and you, as a Holocaust survivor, IDF veteran, kind of had no problem getting in their face about it. And as you told me, you've done that once before.
It's International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Did you know this?
IDF is the only army in the world that puts its own people in danger to save Palestinians. I have done it before, so I participate in many rallies, okay, against the people that are against Israel and the Jew haters. And obviously the SOTMA, they're always part of them. And one of them had the Star of David. In the middle, okay, was the Nazi sign. So I went to him and I told him, you know what that means? He said, yes. Okay, you did it on purpose. Yes. I'm a Holocaust survivor. So he said, so what? Okay, so interesting enough, I said, obviously you love the Palestinians. Yes. The state of Israel should not exist. Correct. So I said, if you love them so much, how come you did not build a yeshiva in Gaza? He said, go away, go away.
And I saw that. And they never have an answer for you. Whenever, that was a great video because Ian showed it to me. But
Right.
whenever they're confronted, and you did it very well. You should have smacked him, to be honest. But that's all right.
Okay. Well, you will be my protector. You will do
I
it
will.
for me.
I will.
Okay.
I will. I got
But-
you. I got
yeah.
you. But it's and I don't see that. I don't see the mindset. It's like me supporting the Taliban or Al Qaeda. I don't get it. It's what's.
Well, they believe, it's obviously they're extreme, okay, but they believe that Israel should have been built by God, not by people.
So what does that have to do with supporting Hamas and the Palestinian? Is it just
because they don't believe in Israel because it was, okay, built by Israel, by people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
it's
by
a
God.
crazy ideology. So they want the
It's
Messiah to
absolute-
come back, and
Okay.
it's a very small. For those who don't know, the Satmar is a
Right.
very small, concentrated group. As I said, mainly out of Williamsburg, which is not
Right.
far from here.
Okay, they are in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And in Israel, they are in Jerusalem.
Which is crazy that some of
And
them
then they
live
call
in
it Mea
Israel.
Sharim. Yeah,
They
Mea
live in
Sharim.
Israel, but they don't want Israel to exist.
Right.
It's
So
an insane.
they can't
ideology.
leave? Can they just leave? I mean, this is like the actors saying they're going to leave if Trump's elected. Well, can you just leave then? Just leave. I mean,
Yeah,
okay, that solves
they
the
just
problem
say
right
they
there.
will leave, but they never leave.
They never leave. It's like, no. Well, then,
So-
is it really that bad if you're not
Yeah.
going to leave?
I want. There's so much to get into, and by the way, whenever you want to, Sammy said he's going to be the first to crack open this bottle of Tonto
Oh,
vodka.
what is
during the
Jack
show.
and Dave are okay with that? Are they
Yeah,
okay with
well,
it?
they better
Yeah.
be. But so whenever you want to, we'll pour it. But
Now, Chris, you have to have also.
Okay, I've got some here. I don't have any on me. That my bottle's empty. That's
Jesus.
those two bottles up there are empty. So they're just on there for decoration. I don't. Okay, I will when I get home. Promise. I'll take a picture.
But that's a
hope-
cool- that's a cool
I wanted to
endorsement.
do it together. But by the way, were you Army?
Yes, I was in the army. I was with the Ranger Battalion.
and he
Second-
knows you're a
second
Benghazi attack survivor. We were talking about this
Yeah,
on the
that
ride,
was
so.
this that was the agency. We were all contract. We were all out at that time. We were all working for the agency as contractors. security contractors.
Since you are here, why don't you tell me your feelings about what happened in Benghazi, and I'll tell you my feelings.
Well, we were left behind. Finding out everything that went on. As far as the fight goes, that we were fighting terrorists, and actually Hamas had a big part of organizing all that. So I have no love for any, and Hamas, Hezbollah, Muslim Brotherhood, any Muslim Brotherhood was part of that too. Can't stand them, But also Al Qaeda was part of the attack, and Ansar al-Sharia, which I believe that now they're part of ISIS. So terrorists, in 10 years I fought against terrorism with the agency and State Department and as a contractor and just private. And no, I hate freaking extremists. They all need to freaking be exterminated off the earth. And they tried to kill us. We were left. Our government left us behind. So I got no love for the agency or the State Department or anyone in DC. And then they tried to cover it up. And I got to see behind the curtain for that too, of how bad DC and politicians are. So So,
What do you
Sammy, I got
think?
no love for terrorism or any of the government officials, any politicians at all.
Yes,
Zero.
but
And the agency,
how did
especially.
you feel the way the news reported what happened there?
The news, the media is a piece of shit. They're- they will slant everything to fit their ideologies. They are no worse than when we used to start to go to Iraq and we would see how bad Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera was terrible, and I mean they're still bad, but even in '03 and '04 it was awful. It just slanted, and it brings it. They try to make the bad people, the bad beings out there, they try to put them in a good light, and that is
Yes.
sickening to me. And that's I just so no, the media, I can't stand the media, especially now. It's even worse. It's propaganda. That's all media is now. It's propaganda. And it's horse shit. And you've seen it. I know you've seen it with growing up and being Israeli and working with the IDF. And I saw that when we were in Iraq, when I was in Afghanistan, when I was in Libya and Yemen, and you see the state-controlled media. Well, that's all this shit is turned into in the States now, and people just eating it up, and it's just it's cultural, what they're cultural, they're trying to do, they're trying to change cultures by getting out misinformation. But in America all we do is look at these stupid things and the TV and the news, and it's just getting it's just turning people's brains into mush.
The media is complicit in what's happening now
Oh, definitely,
worldwide.
definitely,
They
Yeah.
are complicit.
definitely.
So I want to make sure, because we're going to get into a lot of stuff here, but most importantly, for years now, this is what you do. As you said to me on the car ride here, you said, this is your words. You said, I don't have a social life. I just go out and I want to educate the young people about what happened to me in the Holocaust. As you said, you don't even charge anybody. You will go out and speak anywhere. So I think first and foremost, we got to get into your story of being a Holocaust survivor and what happened. And as I said, there's so few of you left that it's such an honor to have you here.
Okay.
And you're one of the younger guys that we have. So
Okay, so it will be a little bit long.
go for it. Let's hear it.
Okay. So I was born in a city that was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The area where I was born was called Bukovina, and Bukovina was given to Romania. My mother and I were born in Chernovitz, in Bukovina, but my father was born in Romania proper. We were deported by the Romanians, not by the Germans. Because I was so young, only a year and a half, obviously I could not work, did not have the strength, the skills. And if you will ask any survivor, how come you're alive today? Everybody will use only one word, luck. My luck was that I was never separated from my parents. Secondly, they found use of me, and I was subjected to medical experiments. The side effects, I felt them every single second, not day, second, and will feel them for the rest of my life. You look at me, you will never see it on my face. You'll never know it.
What medical experiments, if you could touch on it?
Well, obviously, they did not come to my parents and tell them this is what they did to your son. Okay, they don't know, I don't know. However, I suffered from head, neck, shoulders, and back. Today, because of my age, by the way, in December, I will be 85.
Congrats.
I'm starting to enjoy the benefits of growing old. So I have other issues not related, okay, to the experiments.
So you were all those ailments you had all your entire life, from a young child all the way up to
Correct.
now that. Okay, wow.
Okay,
All
and
right.
because they couldn't see it on my face,
Sure.
like for instance, a back problem, there are no tests for it. So they look at you how painful it is at your face. Even the doctors did not believe me. I found out that I was subjected to medical experiments only in 1971, but I'll tell you more about it later. So in my particular case, they could not find a cure because I'm suffering from head, neck, shoulders, and back. I don't know where it starts. I don't know where it goes, how long it will be there. And it also depends on the strength. It can be extreme or it can be mild. Every single second of my life, on the average, my pain level is 3 and 4. Okay. The third part that I'm alive today is because not far away from the camp, there was a farm owned by Germans, and she brought food to the guards in the SS. So obviously, she had access to go wherever she wanted in the camp. After they finished with the medical experiments, came a stage that I was dying of starvation, and there are physical signs: big head, swollen stomach, swollen feet.
Yeah.
And when she saw the physical signs that I'm dying of starvation, not only at the risk of her life, but at the risk of her entire family's life, she decided to give me milk. Possibly more, but I don't know. I did not ask my father. Okay, so I'm just using milk. But I'm quite sure that it was more than that. I do not know the name of the woman that saved my life, so I was not able to honor her. But 10 years ago, I went to Israel to give testimony at Yad Vashem. For the audience, if they don't know about Yad Vashem, is the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. And next to the museum, there is a garden honoring 27,000 people that saved Jews. And I saw a marker honoring the unknown righteous among the nations. And that made me very happy, okay, because indirectly, the woman that saved my life, okay, has been honored.
Yeah, it's amazing that you got to at least see that while you went to Israel. So was that early on in Israel when you fought for Israel when the Holocaust Museum was constructed, or was that decades later?
Say it again?
The Holocaust Museum in Israel, was that constructed decades after you fought in the IDF, or?
That was 10 years ago when I went to there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
10 years ago, 2014.
Okay.
That was the last time. That was the last time I was in Israel.
Sammy, when all that was going on, I mean, you're surviving. People are helping you, or the lady is helping you. Well, I mean,
Which
it
lady?
didn't.
Oh, you mean
the one that was
yeah.
giving you the milk?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the one. So yeah. So what continued to happen, and how did it proceed to? I mean, I want to know the whole story. I mean, how did you?
Yeah.
What happened after? I mean, I know it didn't stop there. You had to.
Okay.
You know,
okay. So, how did I find out that I was subjected to medical experiments? In 1971, my parents came from Israel and to visit me. And after a short walk, when they came back, they saw me on the floor, almost unable to move. My parents never knew that I'm in such extreme pain. And I don't think he ever intended to, but inadvertently, okay, he mentioned I was subjected to medical experiments.
Who's he? Who's he?
My
Who's
father.
The he? Your father. Okay.
My father. I don't think, like I said, I don't think he ever intended to tell me. When he mentioned to me, it was the first time that I realized where the pain is coming from. That did not make any difference as far as the pain is concerned. But it gave me the courage to ask for compensation, okay, from the German government. And like here in the United States, especially the Germans did not want to pay you unless you had a solid proof.
Yeah, you have to have paperwork.
Right.
Yeah, and how do you get paper?
Well,
How do you get paperwork from there? Yeah.
Even in the United States.
Oh
In
yeah.
my particular case, I had wonderful evidence. Number one, my father told me that is hearsay. I was homeless. Okay,
Yeah,
no documents.
Yeah, which we should get into. You were telling me. So your family fled, and then you became. So where did your family flee to? Because you talked about being homeless with me, and you were talking about me in the car, and I said we'll get into it on the show.
We'll get into
yeah.
it. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I had no documents, and when I applied in 2002, I had no witnesses. Even my parents were gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did it for me to feel good that I did something about it, not expecting anything. Guess what? Okay, in 2004, January 26, not only did I get an answer, but I got paid. Keep in mind that the Holocaust is the most recorded crime in human history. They destroyed a lot of the records.
Sure.
And in
yeah.
2013, I was completely shocked. There were two articles. One was in Daily Mail, London, and one in New York Times. The Nazis and their collaborators had 42,500 different type of camps. We will never know the full extent of what really happened. The books are now open. We do not have enough researchers. In the meantime, they had discovered additional mass graves. So the number is over 44,000 different type of camps.
Were you ever subject, because I mean, maybe I missed it, Sammy, but were you ever subject, you and your family, to being into one of those concentration camps?
I was never in a concentration camp.
Okay.
I was in a labor camp.
Labor camp. Okay.
And I will tell you the difference between the different types of camps.
Please do.
Okay, so anyway, what happened, of the over 44,000 different type of camps, only 6 were dead camps. Auschwitz, Birkenau, Treblinka, Belzec, Sobibor, Chelmno, and Majdanek. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, they murdered 1.3 million people. 1.1 were Jews, 200,000 were non-Jewish people. As you know, Israel is vilified worldwide and also especially at the UN.
Yeah.
But Israel was able, to pass 2 resolutions in the General Assembly. Do you know which one is the first one, Chris?
No.
How
You're
about
putting
you?
me on the spot now.
Should I know? What do I
Yes,
not
you
win?
you should know. Maybe not the date, but okay. The one was on November 1st, 2005, which is now known as the International Holocaust Remembrance
Day. Yeah. Okay, that I know.
That is the date, when the Red Army, the Soviets, liberated Auschwitz-Birkenau, January 27.
Okay, ask me again, because I got the answer now. Go and ask me that again. Ask me what day that. Okay, never mind. Keep going. That doesn't count.
Now, what date was it?
November 1st. It was National Holocaust Day. It's when the Russians liberated all the Israelis from the camps.
Wait a minute.
All the Jews, not the Israelis.
Wait a minute.
Jews
You
from the camps.
you lump 2 things together. Say it again.
Oh, I did. What? That's what you said, though.
Well, you're saying National Holocaust Remembrance Day.
The
Yeah.
resolution was in November, first of 2005. The Israeli resolution.
The Israeli
the
resolution. Okay.
Right. The camp was liberated on January 27, 1945.
So the resolution was on November 1st, but the
2005, yes.
Yeah, and the
Exactly.
resolution was just Remembrance Day.
And
Yeah.
2 years
Gotcha.
ago, a second resolution, co-sponsored by Germany, passed also. Even Iran did not dare to ask for a vote. And the Israeli ambassador to the UN invited me to be present at that particular event. And this is a resolution against the Holocaust deniers. And just like the first resolution, it took a long time to become known worldwide and being commemorated. This will take some time for the world to know about it. That was on January. That was, say it again?
No,
Yeah,
go ahead, because I got a question for you after.
Because D did something.
Okay.
No, I did. I know, I'm good.
Okay, we're good now. We're good. Keep
I was going
talking.
to ask something.
Yes.
Okay, you can keep.
So the second resolution was passed on January 20 of 2022, and it commemorates 80th anniversary of the Holocaust, of the official date of the Holocaust, January 20, 1942. And I will talk about it because it's important for me to talk how the Holocaust and genocide started the same way, and I will go through the stages that people did not react in time appropriately, and it kept escalating.
Sure. Well,
So-
let's get into that. Unless you, Chris, you said you had a question.
Well, yeah. And before we get into that, what I was wondering, because they lost all the paperwork. Yeah, you didn't ever have anything except for what your father said, as far as how did they determine that you were part of or anybody else for that matter, with the paperwork being destroyed, and do people,
Well,
just like we have in
apparently-
the military, we have stolen valor? Do people, Jewish people come forth and say, "Hey, my family members were part of the Holocaust," and they just say, "Okay"? I want to know how this all takes place and how it is
It
verified.
based on their records.
Just
So-
what
so
records?
apparently
What
my
records
record-
are?
My records are apparently, I don't know today. People ask me if I want to know what they did to me, and I said, why waste my time on something negative? It will not help me with the pain. So I'm concentrating on something positive and educating the next generation.
But there are
They-
still records available to verify
Apparently.
family names that
apparently, because otherwise, okay, I had absolutely no proof whatsoever.
Gotcha.
So I was
gotcha. Yeah,
completely-
yeah.
I was completely shocked, and I got 2,500, one single payment, 2,500 euros, which came to over $5,000. But what's important to me is that the German government
Yeah.
admitted
Yeah.
that I was subjected to medical experiments. So it's not the money.
Yeah. No, that clarified.
Yeah.
That's what I always wondered. I was like, how the heck? Because you would hear that on the news, or you'd hear it and say, well, the records were destroyed, but they're verifying all this. How are they doing it? And
Well,
There
they
you go.
still have
Got
some
it.
records. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
No worries.
wanted to continue with what you were saying. I don't know if we interrupted you there, where you were talking about. Where did we leave off there? Because you were in the middle of.
we were what? I got so lost. I got so
Well, you-
into
you had
this.
that-
I know.
You had
Okay,
that question.
wait a minute.
Oh
Let
no,
me-
the steps. We're going through the
Okay,
steps.
let me do that. Let me
You got it.
explain. Okay, let me do it my
I'm just
way.
fascinated here. I'm
Let me
I'm
do it
sitting
my
back
way.
listening. So
Let me explain to you what a Holocaust survivor is.
okay.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
where we're at, right
Okay.
there. That's where we're at. Okay.
Okay, I'm giving you my interpretation. Okay, this is somebody that was in one of the three camps.
Gotcha. Okay.
Number one is the concentration camp, which most of the people heard of, is when they brought the people to the camp. The commander, many times a doctor whose job is to save lives, would be in the middle, never say a single word, point right, left. One group would be murdered right away. The second one would become slaves. The second type of camp is where my parents and I were, labor camp. In the labor camp, you died through attrition. You were, worked to death. If you did not follow the instructions properly given by the Nazis or the guards, in front of everybody, they would literally beat you to death. Okay? Also, at the same time, people died of starvation, of disease. They had clinics, they had hospitals, but for the local people and for the guards. And also, many times they used the people as a shooting target. And the third one were the 6 death camps that I mentioned before. In 1991, 46 years after the war ended, finally another group of people were recognized as survivors. As Holocaust survivors. And these were people saved by strangers. They lived in the sewer, in the forest, were hidden by other people, and they are called the hidden children. And that was 46 years later after the war ended.
Yeah, they finally got
Yes.
recognition.
Now, the other thing is, we have people in our government, celebrities, they lump things together that are totally separate.
Of course.
For instance, they say that genocide and Holocaust, okay, they lump them together. And genocide is the murder of a group of people. It's made out of two words, geno, which means group, side, murder. The word side, obviously only in English, but in English it's infanticide, homicide, suicide. So it's the murder of a group of people. Holocaust is the annihilation of only one group of people, of the Jewish people. So we have to differentiate between. A leader of this country said that Holocaust is happening, and that is absolutely false. There is no group, ethnic group, slated to be completely annihilated from the face of the earth. Holocaust will never happen again because right now nobody will be able to claim, I did not know, I did not see, I did not hear. Everything is instant. At the same time, we have to talk about the Holocaust forever because the Holocaust is the best example what hate can do to a person, to a group of people, to a nation, and to the world. Another example, if you want, of lumping things together, we have, for instance, Jew hatred. It's more specific. I don't like the word anti-Semitism, okay? Because what they do is they lump Jew hatred with hate. And they're totally two different things. I can hate you because I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you talk, the way you dress, whatever. There are many reasons. When I say Jew hatred, it refers very specific to only one group of people. Another leader of this country, by the way, I do not use names, but I do not attack people personally, but boy, do I attack what they say. Another leader said, okay, that what's happening in the South, okay, there are concentration camps.
The South where? Meaning where?
In the South, like for instance, they're coming from Mexico.
Oh, okay, got you. So the southern border, yeah.
Southern border, okay. And they say that they are kept until they are released or whatever, they are kept in the camps.
Yes.
So a leader of this country said they are concentration camp, which is completely false. Number one, they were not deported. Number two, the death of daily threat does not exist. They are provided with food, medical care, and everything else. So, as a matter of fact, I was on TV, okay, and I basically told that particular person, what you're doing, you're trivializing what happened during the Holocaust. You're insulting every Holocaust survivor. And I said, shame on you. And by the way, somebody gave me the book. I did not buy it. Okay, but do you know about Judge Pirro?
Yeah.
You know
Judge
her?
Janine Pirro on
Janine
Fox
Pirro,
News, yeah.
She wrote the book.
Okay.
And she quoted me, what I said in the book.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, I mean, and also the comparison is insane because however people stand on illegal immigration and what's happening at the southern border, Jews were not breaking into the country of Germany.
Right.
They were not
They
trying to
were
get
citizens
into
there.
Right.
These are people breaking into the country. No one is trying to starve them or kill them. They're trying to release them back to the country of origin.
Okay. So anyway, so let's start right now with how did it happen and how was it possible that the whole world participate in it, in the annihilation of the Jewish people. The Holocaust did not start like most of the people believe that it started during World War II when the Nazis came to power. It started with the end of World War I. In the Treaty of Versailles, there were 3 punishments that were so severe against Germany that the German people lost their national pride. Number 1, they had to return all the occupied land. Number 2, They could not have an army. I have seen pictures that in a military parade, instead of guns, they had shovels. And number three, they had to pay reparation to all the countries they fought against. And that caused inflation. And I was extremely pleased because when I gave the numbers, which I will give you shortly, okay, in Germany, they teach them about the Holocaust in detail. And the seventh graders knew the answer. And Chris, I'm going to ask you the question.
All right. Come on, bring it.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. In 1917, $1 was worth 4 German marks. At the height of the inflation in 1923, how much was $1 worth?
In Germany, so if it was worth 4, I'm going to say maybe 100.
100. Chris?
101. I'll do the Price is
Price
Right.
is right.
1 trillion.
1 trillion.
No
Wow.
way.
Wow.
No, come on.
The
You're pulling my
kids,
leg.
the
You're
kids,
pulling my
seventh
leg.
graders knew that. You could have a wheelbarrow full of paper money and you could not
Yeah.
buy a newspaper.
So
Nobody
the paper was,
wanted
yeah,
it.
the money was essentially
People,
worthless.
okay, this country is $35 trillion in debt,
Yeah.
okay? They are
Wow.
printing money today. That's what
I know.
happened in Germany. Nobody pays attention to it.
No, it's true.
So anyway, so what happened is Hitler came and he said, you know something, the German military did not lose the war in World War I. We were betrayed by the communists. They were always first because they were feared. Even the Cold War was against the communists.
Yep.
And by the Jews. So again, we were stabbed in the back. So we have a tendency to dismiss when hate groups come into existence and say, oh, that's small, no big deal. Hitler, when he started the Nazi Party, he had only 6 people. Through propaganda in media, in 1932, 30% of the German people voted for him. They were exceptionally good in propaganda. And Joseph Goebbels, the minister of propaganda, said, a lie told long enough
Becomes the truth.
becomes truth. Okay? And this is one of the things that's happening in social media today. There are a lot of misinformation, a lot of lies, okay? But because it's social media, especially the young people, do not do the research, okay? They keep repeating it, and it becomes the norm.
There's prominent voices now who are denying what happened to people like you. I mean, we
Right.
spoke about it with an Israeli veteran, Israeli active duty, Doron Kidar.
Yeah.
You probably know, but like that woman Candace Owens is saying, why would the Nazi doctors experiment on people and rip apart one part of their body and connect it with another part, and saying the things that happened to you never
Right.
happened? And these are prominent voices with like millions of followers on social media.
Well, that's. I think that we equate millions of followers to actually having half a brain, and that's not the truth. I've seen it even in D.C. where politicians are supposed they're in
we'll
these
talk about
positions
it.
and they're
We'll
supposed
talk-
they're
we'll
supposed
talk
to
about
be
the
smart.
propaganda.
They're dumber than a bag of hammers, but we're listening to them because we've somehow put these people up on a pedestal on a throne.
To give an example, okay, and I'll tell you, a celebrity said that the Holocaust, okay, is not about race. Okay?
I know who you're talking about. I remember.
I didn't hear this one. Tell
Yeah.
me.
Should I say the celebrity?
You can say it.
It was
I
Whoopi
told you,
Goldberg, right?
I'll say
Whoopi
it.
Goldberg said it wasn't
Whoopi
about race.
Goldberg.
Yeah.
She said, guess what?
It was white people fighting other white people.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the apology was even worse than the initial one. So, but interestingly enough, okay, I answered on TV, and I basically said, I don't believe that she should have been punished. I don't believe in that. But people like her do a great damage because she has a lot of followers, especially young people. And they do not do the research, and they will repeat what she's saying, and that will become the norm. What she does not know is that the Nazis, to enlist the world to annihilate the Jewish people, portrayed the Jews as threats. When you're using the name of an animal on a person or a group of people, like the police, pigs, basically what you're doing is you are dehumanizing them, and that's a license to hurt them. So here is the interesting part. Why did they portray the Jews as threats? Because just like Jews, they're smaller numbers. They live all over the world. You don't want to have them as pets. But what do they really do? They spread disease. And by portraying the Jews as threats, they convince the world that the Jews are not only a danger to Germany, but to the world.
And just to get this, so you're saying they portrayed them as rats? Because I originally thought you were saying threats. They portrayed them as rats.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay, so here it is something that you said, Goldberg, Whoopi Goldberg.
Which is not a real name. She's not Jewish. But
Right.
I think her last good movie was The Predator,
Right.
too.
Okay,
Where
so
she
now
played
I
the
can
alien.
Right, I can say
Predator.
it. But here, the danger that she made, so people like her that have such leaders, in power, celebrities, before they speak, they should know the subject, not just to blur.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what happened is when Hitler came to power, Chris, what was Hitler's goal?
He keeps quizzing Chris.
I'm going to put him on the
Because he
spot.
knows I can't answer any of this. He knows it. Come on, Sammy. Let me try again. I'll try again.
Right. Okay, what was his initial goal regarding the Jews?
I thought his initial goal was to eradicate. That's
Very
what I
good.
thought it was. Because
Okay, now I'm going to ask you.
Well, you spoke with me about this in the car. We were speaking a little before, so I'm
So
cheating
that's-
a little bit.
am I
Let
wrong?
me-
I
let
thought.
me
Well,
see
you were
if you
saying
remember. Yes,
originally he wanted to throw them out of the country. It was
Correct.
not. It was not. To eliminate.
Initially,
but I
what
got
he
that.
wanted-
Sammy told
his
me
initial
this.
goal was to have a Germany free of Jews. Juden frei.
And I misinterpreted. I thought it was to eradicate. I didn't think it
Not
was
yet.
just to toss them
Not
out.
yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, not
Not
yet.
yet.
Got it.
Okay, so interestingly enough, the people knew when he portrayed the Jews as threats and everything else. But Jews, why would they leave? They were assimilated. They considered themselves Germans. They fought for Germany proudly in World War I. They lived there for centuries. So 1935, okay, the Nazis came out with the Nuremberg laws. But you can see how it escalated because people did not react in time and appropriately. And the Germans, I've been in Germany 3 times, the Germans are law-abiding citizens even today. For the audience, I'm going to give an example what I mean by that. In the United States, 65 miles an hour is the benchmark. In Germany, it is the speed limit. So in the Nuremberg laws, they told the Germans, do not associate yourself with your neighbors or with your Jewish friends. Jewish neighbors, Jewish friends. And being law-abiding citizen, that was the law. They felt patriotic to do that. So they put them in ghettos. They boycotted their store. They made life very, very difficult. But they were not yet violent against the Jews. And what happened is, by not reacting appropriately and timely, kept escalating. Okay, the next stage comes, okay, 1938. And they annexed Austria, which became part of the Greater Germany. And next month, we will commemorate 2 nights. Do you know which one they are?
Yeah, Crystal Nacht.
The Crystal Nacht.
Okay, thanks for not asking me because
That's a big one. That's a big one.
So, okay, in Crystal Nacht, sponsored by the state, not a simple riot, sponsored by the state, in Austria and Germany, they murdered over 100 Jews. They destroyed over 7,500 stores and synagogues and put in prison 30,000. And to add insult to injury, the Jews had to pay for the cleanup. This was the first time that the Germans became violent against the Jewish people.
Great having Sami Steigmann in studio. Sammy wants to eventually speak in Fort Scott, Kansas, or around the area. If you do, you should go shooting with Chris there. 'Cause
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
is definitely an expert shooter. And we have a great sponsor that's been with us since the very beginning. That's none other than Fort Scott Munitions. Fort Scott is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammo designed to tumble upon impact. Their trademark. The ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring they receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Check them out, guys. They've been with us. They are a great supporter of what we do. We support what they do.
Yeah.
FSM.com, promo code BattleLine. You'll get 15% off all of their gear that you can check out at the site. Some select gear, I should say, because some stuff is not discounted. But whether you're looking for ammo or some other stuff on that site, check them out. FSM.com. Promo code BattleLine, that's one word, also available in all 50 states. With that, let's get right back to Sami Steigmann.
Comes now the next stage. And obviously they knew what's happening worldwide, they knew in the United States, but they did not react appropriately. There were small pockets of resistance, but not nationwide. And when I talk about 1938, do you know about T4?
No.
T4 is they took, because they were a burden to the economy, so they took the mentally and physically ill,
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
okay, did
Gypsies,
experiments,
right? Yeah.
did experiments on them, and murdered them, gassed them. In Germany, in every person has a very powerful voice. We should never be silent. And one German priest found out about it, made it public. There was a big uprising in Germany, and the T4, stopped. But not before. The Nazis, murdered over 200,000 mentally and physically ill Germans. Do you know what happened to that priest?
Did they kill him? Did they kill him for reporting this?
Nothing. And that's why I use it as an example, not to be afraid to speak. And I'll talk to you about what you see here.
Yeah, no fear.
No fear. Okay, so let's go further. The next stage is September 1st, 1939. World War II started, and unlike Europe, which was occupied, Poland was annexed, became part of the Greater Germany. And in Poland, they found a problem. 3.3 million Jews. And this is now the Greater Germany. So in Germany proper, they did not want any Jews. What the hell do you do with 3.3 million? That came the idea of exterminating them. Okay, and the next stage is January 20, 1942. 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals got together in a city which today is part of Berlin.
You're saying Berlin? Okay.
What's the name of the city? January 20, 1942.
Oh, I don't know.
Wannsee.
Okay.
Wannsee is today part of Berlin. I'll get back to you. Don't
Sammy
laugh.
loves quizzing us.
Like I'm like 0% right now, which maybe I
Okay.
can get it up to 1%. We'll try. Okay.
Right. So anyway, 15 high-ranking Nazi criminals got together, to decide the final solution to the Jewish question. Remember, when I use final, so there were many, many steps that led to
it, yeah.
that point. And that is the official date of the Holocaust. Among the 15 people there was one guy by the name of Adolf Eichmann. He was not one of the policymakers, but he was the one that implemented it. And I use him as an example of the efficiency of the Nazis and their collaborators to murder 11 million people in such a short time. Again, 6 million were Jews, 5 million non-Jewish people. And remember, everything starts with the Jews, but does not end there. Okay, the same thing with ISIS, with everybody else. Adolf Eichmann, in only 2 months, deported 437,000 Hungarian Jews to their deaths. The Holocaust survivors did not speak until the Eichmann trial in Israel in 1961. In my particular case, I have no memories of the period of time when I was in the camp.
Oh yeah, you were what, 1,
Year
2,
and a half.
as you said?
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
So
okay.
obviously for me it's a blessing in disguise because I don't have to relive
Yeah.
those horror stories like the older generation.
Do you think that's why you're more open to giving talks like you do? Because as we were saying when I drove over, I'm sure there's a lot of other. You told me the amount of living Holocaust survivors, and many of them don't do what you do. They don't go out and do speaking engagements.
Look, nobody talks about how the Holocaust happened. Nobody goes through the stages like I did with you.
Sure.
Okay? Nobody, for instance, when I give a presentation, I always have somebody to moderate. I want the young people to become leaders.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I want to empower them to feel comfortable to speak. Okay? I had even fifth graders moderate. They cannot make a mistake. I know where I'm going. I know how to do it. They can ask whatever they want. Okay? But it's important for me, the other students, to see them as leaders and for them to gain the confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, at the same time, what people also, other people do not do is to be positive. I do not, like I told you what happened to me.
Yeah.
I don't dwell on it. It happened, okay? I will tell you, okay?
And what were you saying? Because it's on your profile, as you said, your slogan is where I am not. What is it? I'm not what happened to me.
Right.
What's
right. So in my
what is it though? What's the slogan?
Okay, no, but that is my motto.
Yeah.
Okay, do you, Chris? Let me ask you something. A question. Do you believe that I had a girlfriend?
Yeah, of course. I believe you had more than one. At least
Thank
right now,
you.
you probably have
Thank
3.
you. So when I introduce her to somebody, give me your hand.
Oh, okay.
Okay, she used to say, "Hi, my name is Anita.
Okay.
I'm bipolar. Who cares? Who asked you?" But that was her identity. And my motto is, I am not what happened to me. That does not identify me.
Yeah.
I
That doesn't
am-
define you.
I am what I choose to be. And within my means, I choose to be a happy person.
Sammy, when did you? And we're moving on a little bit. Well, quite a bit now. When did you speak and be like, "This is what I want to do"? Or did you already have an idea? Or did you get up one day and you did a talk and you're like, "I love what I'm doing. And I'm going to continue." Or, I mean, because
No.
you do a lot now, and it's not so. I'm being a speaker myself. It's not something that you just, I'm going to go do it and this is going to happen. Or maybe you did. Maybe you. I don't know. I mean, tell me how you got into it and why you keep doing it. Aside from you're educating, but it still wears on you. I know it's got to a little bit.
I can give 6, 7 presentations in one day. I've done it. And if you have seen my website, you know that I answer questions for 16 hours straight.
So you remember we were on the
No, I saw-
Clubhouse
yeah,
app?
yeah.
He was
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Clubhouse. You said with Kosha Dills, right?
Kosha Dills.
He's a great guy. I never really met him, but I know
I'll
him.
talk about Kosha Dills.
Yeah.
But
So
let
16
me,
hours. Yeah.
Huh? But let
16 hours.
remind me. Let me ask Chris's question. Okay.
Yeah.
I always knew that I am a survivor because my father, from his family, okay, only 2 survived. From 42 people, only 2 survived.
Wow.
Okay, and he felt guilty. And he's not the only one. That how come he did not save one of his family members? Obviously, he couldn't, but the guilt feeling stayed with him forever. And when people told me that I behave in a certain way, that obviously I went through the Holocaust, and I said, "What are you talking about?" I just ignored it. The Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., once a year for 16 years in a row, closed its door to the general public and opened it up only to the Holocaust survivors, their children, and their liberators. I never went. Don't ask me why. Chris, I'm going to teach you a Yiddish word. Yiddish.
Okay.
Say it after me. Bashert.
Bashir.
Meant to
Got it.
be. Got it. Bashert. So,
Bashir.
November 1st and November 2nd of 2003, I decided to go. There were over 8,000 people from all over the world.
And you haven't spoken yet. This is your your first time.
I'm still not
yeah, okay.
speaking. At the table where I was sitting, I met a man born in the same city, been in the same camp, the same years, 1941, 1944. He was deported. He was 8 months old. I was a year and a half. And this is the difference between history and what your audience and you, Chris, are experiencing, living history. That prompted me to stop ignoring being a Holocaust survivor. In 2007, I joined the Holocaust Museum in New York, where I live, the Museum of Jewish Heritage, a living memorial to the Holocaust. And in 2008, I got my first assignment to speak to sixth graders. I did not feel that I have a compelling story. Okay, my parents wanted the children to have a normal childhood, so they did not talk about it. I had no memory, but I knew one thing. I'm going to ask you, Chris. I'm going to try to make it easy on you. What is Nike's logo?
It's the swoosh, the little.
Well, you're saying that, I think he means the slogan, right? The slogan.
Logo.
Yeah, but
Well,
but the saying,
logo,
right?
What are you saying?
Yeah, that.
Just do it.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
That's exactly. I knew
I got
one
one.
thing. I knew one thing, that I know more than the sixth graders.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And what was the word that I taught you?
Bashir.
Bashert.
I said Bashir. Did I not? I rolled my tongue. I'm
No, you
Mexican. I
said-
can roll my tongue.
Okay.
It's just not coming through on the microphone.
Okay.
Bashir.
Okay.
I got you.
Bashert. Very good. So they sent me thank you letters.
That's
Each one better than the other. But one sixth grader changed my life forever. And she wrote, P.S., your story was overwhelming. And I promise I'll pass your story to my children.
Wow.
When I saw in my first presentation the impact that I had, I realized that I have something very important that I can share. So obviously I have evolved with time. My presentation is different today than it was at that time.
Sure.
But because of her, I started to speak. Now, Chris, do you have kids?
Yes, I have 3.
How old are they?
19, 9, and 16. I'm trying to remember.
I thought you were forgetting that. That's an
I know.
important one.
I know.
Okay, so you have
I
to
know.
bring me to speak at your children's schools.
I have.
University.
When my oldest, I was still when my oldest, and then my middle child, when we lived in Omaha, I've spoken at their schools, and my niece's school when she was 6th grade, I went to speak at her school, and it is I enjoyed it. It's very
Yes,
there's
so
an
you-
innocence
So
there.
you have
It's a-
to bring me to Nebraska.
Well, I'm in,
Oh,
well,
your dad was
I'm-
in Kansas.
I'm in Kansas now, but
Oh, in Kansas. So bring me to
corn's
bring me
corn,
to
bro.
Kansas.
Corn's
Bring me
corn,
to
yeah.
Kansas. Okay. You see,
Yeah.
with my memory, I don't remember everything.
No, he said Omaha before. He was in Omaha prior.
Okay.
I was but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's speaking at I've done
Okay.
that actually a few,
Yeah,
and I just
so
did a
I would like- I
Q&A
would-
at a high school.
I would love to come to Kansas. Now, interestingly enough, okay, for me, my mission in life is a Hebrew word and an acronym of that word, and this is emet, which in Hebrew it means truth.
Do I have to remember that too? Both
This is
Bashir and
this is to
Emet?
educate the next generation. It's
Em-
up to them. All the changes in the world have been accomplished by young people, and it's up to them. Not sufficient to learn about the Holocaust, but to become active. Okay, because I've been in many campuses, and there is too much apathy. They don't respond to all the hate that is happening there.
Do you, Sammy, do you, being on the campuses, is it, and maybe this is a rhetorical question, is it worse now? Is it getting worse now on the campuses where there is
Yes.
more,
Yes.
or there is more hate, Jew hate? There is
Yes.
more hate against non-believing the Holocaust, believing aliens like Whoopi Goldberg that say the dumbest crap in the world. Is it worse now? And I think it is, but
Yes.
I'm not on those campuses. They don't want to
Yes,
hear
it
about
is.
Benghazi on
is.
college campuses because they
Yes.
don't want their
We'll
saviors.
talk about it. Yes, it
Okay.
is worse now, and it will get worse before it will get better.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Okay. To give an example to understand why I believe that it will get better, is are you familiar with DEI?
Of course.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, from
Okay.
I don't have
Okay,
to experience it, but I'm
Right.
familiar with it.
But
Yeah.
I was, okay, I told you I'm not PC. I was asked about it, and I said on TV that it's racist. And I don't like the word, the letter E. Equity.
Yeah.
Equity means equality. There is no such thing. In the most equal society in the world, the communism, there is always an elite that's above
Yes.
everybody else. I believe in equal opportunity. And right now, okay, you see, it got so bad that some major companies in some military
Yeah.
bases,
No,
they
it
are
is.
getting away from it. And that's what I'm trying to say. What's happening right now, it will get worse, but eventually it will be so bad that they will.
That it has to come back, and that's just the ebb and flow, like it has been in history. It does.
Exactly.
People
It's
are
like- it's
people
like
are
a
so
pendulum.
dumb. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go all the way to the end because you're so dumb until it finally
Right.
like, okay, we are just so dumb. We've got to come back the other way, and that's where I agree. with you.
Exactly.
Right
It's
there.
like a
Yeah.
pendulum, goes from one extreme
is.
to another, and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with what's going on in Israel right now, I graduated. So, I mean, I'm younger than both you guys, but I mean, I graduated college in '09. I didn't see what's happening now.
No.
You know, and yeah, it is. I don't think it's a lack of education.
Now, when I spoke the first time at Columbia University, okay, Columbia University was the worst one. Right now, it's Harvard. It's
And it-
unreal. Now, and the problem is that there are no consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the problem. So if there are no consequences, well, why shouldn't I go further?
Yeah, you could just destroy your campus, throw
Why not destroy
rock
it? Well,
windows,
and that's back when I'd still go back to growing up. You say something out of line, you get punched in the face. That's it.
Correct.
But you don't say that anymore. But that doesn't happen anymore. It
Doesn't happen
doesn't
anymore.
where there is some sort of repercussions for speaking out of turn. And you know what?
Or misbehaving. Now, going back, so in the EMET, so it was to educate, motivate them to be the best they can be, to empower them to become upstanders, okay? And tolerance, for me, does not mean to accept somebody's misbehavior. It means to accept other people's opinion. Other people's culture. The other thing that I also wanted to say is, there is a lot of things that is happening today, and people do not pay attention to that. And it keeps escalating. Take a look. There is a virus that can never be eradicated, and that is bullying, bigotry, Jew hatred, hate, racism, and ideology. The only way we can combat that particular virus is only through education. And by educating the young people, they will educate others. Exponentially, it will get better.
Yeah.
But you have to speak their language. Being so young and being in a camp so young, going through and everything else, they can relate to what I'm saying.
For sure.
The other things, when I speak, normally I'm very private. But when I speak, I am completely open.
Sure.
Because you cannot teach somebody not to smoke if you smoke. So if I want to change somebody's, by the way, you cannot change anybody's, you cannot change anybody. You can change only somebody's perspective.
Yeah.
And Chris, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question.
Okay, I got it.
Now I'm really putting you on the spot. What does it mean to you, 6 million?
6 million? What does
Yeah.
it mean? Big
Yeah,
number.
six-
That
six
just means
million-
it's 6 million is a very large number. When I hear
Can you-
6 million, that's the first thought that pops in my head. Large number.
Okay. Can you relate to it?
No, I can't. I mean, it started being a large number, but never, no.
No, exactly how I feel. To me, it's a number.
It's a number.
But let's bring it to a common denominator. If you would be on your feet and silent for 1 minute for every victim of the Holocaust, you would be on your feet and silent for 11 and a half years. That's a totally different perspective to understand what really happened during those days.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know what I wanted to ask you about, which was important to get into? So, when your family or the surviving members left Germany, where did you?
We
well,
were
not
never.
Germany,
We were
sorry.
never in Germany.
You were in. Where were you again? You told me earlier.
Okay. Okay. My mother and I were born in Bukovina.
That's right.
My father was born there. But after the war,
That's what I'm wondering. Where you fled to, and then how you ended up in Israel, and then eventually wound up in New York.
Well, before I went to Israel,
Yeah.
something else happened because we were deported by the Romanians. The Romanian government in 1946 allowed a very small group of Jews from the former Soviet Union to repatriate. My father, being born in Romania proper and being an anti-communist, decided to choose to go to a very, very small town in Romania, in an area that you would be familiar from the horror movies.
Oh, Transylvania.
Transylvania. Yeah, you should have asked me that. I would have got that right. Dang, man.
By the way, whenever you want to break out the Tonto vodka,
Right.
just let me
That's
know. I
okay.
can pour it for you. So
Okay. Okay.
I'm not trying to get him drunk here. He brought up this idea. You said, "Oh, you have vodka."
Yes,
All right.
yes. I will do that. Now, the interesting part is, Chris, are you afraid of me?
No.
Why not? I'm the Jewish Dracula.
No, I don't. Well, if you grow fangs and you get bat wings, then I still wouldn't be afraid of you. I just would be more apprehensive of you, and I'd be going and looking for a steak.
Okay.
I can tell you why I'm doing that one.
So anyway,
Okay.
now I'm going to ask you now a question.
He gave me a dad joke. I gave him a dad answer. So there we go. We're so is our age right there.
Okay, now, okay, let me tell you how difficult life was after the war. Now, we did not feel singled out because everybody had to go through the same thing. Number one, okay, can you imagine living in a house there is no toilet?
I couldn't. No, I mean, I've never experienced that.
when
Chris
we
is
did-
kind
when I-
of, yeah.
When we went, sometimes overseas, there's not the Turkish toilets and the.
So
yeah,
where did you go?
There were
You had-
plenty. There were plenty hovering, and when people hover, they don't always. Or going out in the yard and digging a slit trench and having to do it that way. That's
No,
I've done it, but
no.
not years on end, but
Sure.
months at a time.
No, in
yeah.
my case, we use the outhouses.
Yeah.
In the outhouses, some of them had no door. Like, for instance, I was in China. Okay, the bus had a problem. So we had to stop. So one woman had to go in the outhouse, but it had no door. So the other woman made a wall.
What did I do?
Right.
I'm wondering when you were in China. That must have been years later. You were in China, you said.
I was in China
But that must have been many years later,
in
right?
2002.
Oh, okay.
So, but interestingly enough, can you imagine, not having a sink?
Once again, I haven't experienced Chris, limited experience, but yeah.
When
I
did-
mean, I
when
have,
did-
but not for months on end. When
Right.
we first
Where did you
Iraq,
get the water from to brush your teeth? Take-
no, the thing is we had bottled water. We could just go get the bottled water. We didn't
No.
have to go to a well and go to
No,
a
we-
river.
we
I
went-
never had to experience any of that.
We
yeah.
had a well. Imagine yourself,
You had a well.
2 pails, and it was quite a
Yeah.
distance. How many times you had to go to bring the water for people to take a bath? Okay. Now, the other interesting thing, there were only 2 things that are very inexpensive. The other things, either they were not available or too expensive.
Is that question for me? Are you asking
Yes.
me? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Open
you
it.
gotta,
Open that. Oh.
what 2 things are most expensive? What
The least expensive.
least expensive, but are like give me everyday
How much of
items.
this
You gotta
should I
give me a
pour for you?
clue. Give me a clue. Everyday items, or are they?
Is that good?
I would say bread. I would say if you're on the food side, I would say bread. If
We're
I was on
advertising
the
your product here.
No, there were 2 things.
Tonto vodka, available now.
Tata vodka was cheers. It's empty, but cheers.
You can
I'll
cheers.
get you this. Cheers, man.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And let us know what you
Alright.
think of his vodka, since this is his
Yeah,
his
and
vodka.
you know how you drink it? Not like here in the States. Okay?
Okay, how?
Don't get completely wasted here, Sammy.
All right, you
Jeez.
win. Damn.
I think you just did like 3 shots there.
Man, a good thing Ian's driving there, Sammy. Good job. Well done. All right.
No, many. No.
But hey,
What do you think? What do
you?
you think of this? What do you think of his vodka?
Fun. It's vodka.
It's vodka. That's right. It's
Definitely have
man.
some
As
water.
long- as long-
if you're
okay.
right.
So
But what are the 2? Wait, I guess I say bread, and
no,
then I would say
no, bread.
No?
No.
Okay.
It was
All right.
movies and booze.
Oh, okay.
That's why he wanted the
Okay,
vodka
yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I shouldn't. You were guiding me there, and I was too
Right.
dumb to pay attention.
Okay.
My bad.
Now,
bad.
many times we used to go to the forest to collect, raspberries, strawberries, gooseberries,
Yeah.
and mushrooms. And the good one and the poisoned one lived together. My mother knew the difference, otherwise I wouldn't be here. And we also went to steal fruits, but not when they were ripe, because the owner would come out and beat us up. So when they were still green, and the green fruits have a sour taste. So even today, I would eat a Granny Smith, but very seldom would I eat any other type of apple. And then we used to go and we used to steal watermelons. You don't have to be black to like watermelon.
Dang.
So I was in Mexico, and for 6 years in a row on a speaking tour, and 1 year there was a watermelon season, and my friend that brought me, he couldn't believe how many times I went to the table and to pick up watermelon and watermelon.
I tell you right now, Mexicans, we eat watermelon, and we actually put salt on it. That's how me and my grandfather, my abuelo,
Right.
used to watermelons everywhere. But we put a little salt on it. I don't. It's just I don't know why, but
I
it
don't
tastes
know.
better that way. I
But
like it
that
that
was
way.
but that was water. It was sugar, energy in food.
Oh, it is. Damn,
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg's gonna hit us for that one, isn't she? Yeah, she's gonna get us on that one. Bring her on. Let's go. Let's go.
That's her problem.
That's
So
right.
when did you, as I was asked before, when did you eventually come to New York? When did you
Yeah,
come
yeah.
to
So
Israel?
what happened is, my father applied to go to Israel in 1941, but in a communist country, it's not easy to leave the country. So it took 12 years to finally get the visa, but the Romanian
Wow.
government had to be bribed. So in 1961, we went to Israel. the first memory that I have of setting foot in Israel was seeing a Jewish policeman. You'd wonder why such a simple thing would make such impression on me.
Sure.
It's because we were always dependent on the regimes where we lived. Some of them were benevolent, some of them were not. Okay, and seeing a Jewish policeman, I realized for the first time, I am home and we are in charge of our own destiny, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
And that's the memory, is the lasting memory in my mind.
And
And
how did,
then 1968, I came to the United States.
well, wait, let's get into getting drafted to the IDF or
Yeah, so I volunteered. I
Yeah.
was 21 years old. Being a newcomer, I did not have to right away to be in the military, but I volunteered. And in those days, I don't know today, but in those days, you would do everything possible not to be rejected. That was a real pride. Today, I don't know. But at that time, okay, everybody wanted to be.
and what did you do in the Air Force? I mean, I don't want to skip over that. Our audience loves hearing those stories.
Are you familiar with the airplanes, Chris?
Some, yeah. I mean, which airplanes? The
Have
military
you
ones?
heard
The
of
F-15?
Mirage 3C?
Yeah. I mean, that was before my time, but I studied. Yeah, I know what a Mirage.
Mirage
Those
3C,
were badass.
I was in
Those
the
were-
first class in Israel that learned about that particular plane. I was not a pilot. I'm not coordinator. However, I tested for 1 year the cockpit instruments and repaired them. And later on, I worked as an electrician, the whole team, okay, on the plane.
on the Mirage.
So the
yeah.
whole team, they created a problem. The whole team had to find the problem, and we were timed. And the 6-day war, a lot of people believe that the United States helped Israel because there was wave after wave going in. And they knew that Israel did not have that many planes. But we were so well trained
Yeah.
that we were able in record time to be able to find the problem, solve it, and let plane wave after wave go in.
No,
So I
the
was-
Israeli Air Force has always had a great name. They've been
Yes.
they're amazing. They rival the U.S. Air Force as far as
And
the fighter planes
interesting
and
part
jets.
is when I
Amazing.
was on the base, for the first few days we couldn't sleep because of the landings and takeoff. And 1 year later, the whole base woke up. Do you know why?
No, why?
Complete silence. You got so used to the noise that the silence woke us up.
Did you ever experience that, Chris? That sounds like something probably a lot of military guys like get so used to the noise and commotion.
Actually, I have to have a little noise going to sleep. If it's extremely quiet, I'll pop up, and I always think I have to use it. It's like, man, I'm using the bathroom a lot because every time I wake up I got to piss, but it's not that. It's something. It's if it's quiet, too quiet, and I hear too much, and then I'll start hearing, and it'll wake me up. So I got to have something constant going. And jet airplane, we get used to the airfields. Yeah, listening to the planes come take on and off, or actually, it's like having white noise. So yeah, I understand that quite a bit. And actually, I have to have some noise on to go to sleep now, because if it's completely silent, I'll wake up because a little noise will pop me up because I'll think something's sneaking up on me.
And in 1968, I came to the United States without the language and without money. I had a second cousin that promised my father that will help me. He was very wealthy. But I don't think that you ever heard the expression, promises made, not kept.
Yeah.
So I had to struggle. I met my ex, got married, had my son, and got divorced, went back to Israel, came back to the U.S. in 1988, to New York. I did not want to go back to Milwaukee. And
Which where
that's
you
my last
originally
home.
lived. Yeah, you originally lived in Milwaukee.
I
in the
lived in
US.
Milwaukee.
Okay, yeah.
For 15 years.
Wow. So
Do you
you
still talk
said-
to your son? I'm sorry, to your son.
I'm not in
Sammy?
touch with my son. When I left for Israel, my son, my ex, whatever she told me, he bought a hook, line, and sinker, and does not allow me to be in touch with my grandchildren. How did I overcome that? So when I talk to the students, or right now to your audience, we all have a want and a need. A want does not have to be fulfilled. Don't ask me why. My want is to go to Australia. If it happens, wonderful. If it doesn't happen, I have the internet and I can visit any city I want. But my need is to teach and to share. I cannot do it with my son, with my grandchildren. So when I am speaking to the students, I tell them that for the time that we are together, you are becoming my substitute grandchildren. And I'm extremely happy when I receive letters from 4th graders telling me that they were very happy that for 2 hours they were able to be my substitute grandchild.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, because I was at your apartment. You live by yourself. You've lived by yourself for many years, so I'm sure that has to be tough. You were
No,
saying,
it's not tough because it's a decision that I made.
yeah,
I don't have a social life, but my life is educating the next generation.
Yeah.
That is my life.
well, you were telling me for a period you were homeless.
Yes. How did I overcome homelessness?
How did you become homeless in the first place? Just coming here to New York with no money? What happened?
What happened, I got involved with the wrong people, friends that I trusted, that I believed, and they betrayed me. And I overcame that 3 ways. Number one, okay, I forgave them. But when I'm saying I forgave them, is because I had to do something. There are 2 things in this country that I'm very unhappy with. People have forgotten how to disagree in a civil way. And number 2, if you pay attention to all of our leaders, nobody is responsible. If you can correct me, nobody has ever been fired under this administration.
Yeah. Under dang near any administration. We talk about that on the show quite often.
Right.
Nobody said, yeah.
Right.
Right.
And the interesting part is that I have decided to take responsibility for me, how I became homeless. Nothing happens in a vacuum. And I started to think, what did I do to put me in the position that I became homeless? Number one, these were people that I trusted with my life. I did not put anything in writing. I did not have any proof that I gave them the money. And I said one thing to myself, you know something? They are not guilty. They took advantage of my stupidity. By taking responsibility, all of a sudden I became a free man. And I had to do 2 things. Number one, I had to forgive myself for making that mistakes. Number 2 is to be kind to myself. When we make a mistake, we blame ourselves. Why did I do this? Why did I do
And we
that?
replay it over and over again.
Over and over.
We don't forgive ourselves.
And this is what I call, I will call the GIGO. If you don't know what GIGO is, when the IBM came out with the computers, it took a whole room. And GIGO means garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. Whatever you put in your head, that stays.
Yeah.
And that's why I always use positive words. I think in a positive way, and that gives me the opportunity to have positive experiences and positive, better life. So everything starts here. When I ask the kids, who is the most important person in your life? Most of them are saying my parents. And I said, no. It starts with 3 letters. I-O-U. You. The way you think, that will happen. You think positively, positive things will happen. Think negatively, negative things will happen. And I say, you want to be loved? Learn to love yourself. You want to be respected? Learn to respect yourself. So everything starts with you. So it's a very important lesson for them to understand that.
So how did you get out of that situation and wind up
Which
in the
one?
apartment you're
Which
in now,
situation?
in the homelessness that you're now at an apartment in the Bronx that you live
With
in?
the homelessness is I'm a very proud person, which means I will not ask for help. I live under the poverty line. In the most expensive city in the country, my monthly income is $1,563. People want to help me, and I say no. I do it from the heart. I don't want money. If you really want to honor me, give it to a charity of your choice. If you don't have a charity of your choice, I will give you 2 of them. One of them is Blue Card, and the other one is plant some trees in Israel.
Yeah.
But first, your charity of choice, if you want to honor me. But I don't want to do it for a living.
Which is amazing because I feel like you should be compensated and you deserve to be for all the speaking engagements you do. And you just, I mean, I understand why you do it, just for the education, and you don't do it for the money or notoriety. But it's to be commended. But I mean, you're definitely very deserving of it.
I don't want to do it for money. Okay? Like I said before, there is a Hebrew saying in Sameach bechelki, which means I'm happy with my lot. Okay? I don't have the best of everything, but I make the best of everything I have.
Well said.
The other thing that I'm saying is, okay, not every victim of the Holocaust was a Jew. But because they wanted to annihilate the Jewish people, every Jew was a victim. So those are some of the things that I do. I'm a motivational speaker. Unlike the professional ones who charge a lot of money, they speak from the academic viewpoint. When I use a cliche, okay, I give personal examples
Yeah.
or what that cliche means to me.
Yeah.
So people can relate to it.
And you were also telling me you have books that you were a part of or interviewed for, and then you have a couple books on the horizon, right, that you're a part of.
There is one particular book that right now, it has not been, how shall I say?
It's not released yet.
Not.
I think you drank too much Tanto vodka.
The book itself is released. The book itself is on Amazon, and it's basically
pre-order.
Interactive book. In this interactive book, there are 6 survivors. Since they started to write the book, it's an interactive book. Okay, 2 of them passed away, so you can interact with 4 survivors. I am one of them. I am also very blessed because you know how expensive it is to have your name on a building. In Togo, in Africa, there is a building that bears my name Sami Steigmann Center of Tolerance.
And what's the story behind that? How did you get it named after you?
I came to an event honoring Jabotinsky. Okay? Not everybody knows about him.
Yeah.
But I have a very bad habit. I'm coming early. I'm always early. And all of a sudden, I was the first one, and a black woman came to me, and we started to talk. And about 10, 15 minutes later, and friends of mine came over there, and I moved to them. And she suggested for us to get together for a coffee. She's from Nigeria, has an NGO at the UN.
Yeah, non-government organization.
And as we talked, she says, I have a building in Nigeria and I want to name it after you. And I said, why me? A, I'm not known. B, I don't have money. I live under the poverty line. Well, she said something that really impressed me. And she said, it's not always about money. It's what you represent.
Yeah.
And I did not, for 4 years, I did not ask her any questions about it. Because I'm aware that a lot of people make promises, but don't keep it. And so all of a sudden I'm getting, a messenger. And in the message, I saw that, you will see it on my PowerPoint, Sami Steigmann, Center of Tolerance.
It's awesome.
So what my goal is, and I have to call it again, they had to put the name on the building, but it was not officially dedicated. So I would like to use it as a mini summit, which means she has an NGO at the UN. So to bring people from the United States, from Israel, from other countries, and open it up and have like a mini summit.
That'd be amazing. I know I don't know what else Chris has, but one thing I'm just wondering. You talked about the pendulum and where things are shifting, that things will get worse before they get better. I mean, we're living during a pretty historic time. I think this is like the most tension I've ever seen before an election. Family members at each other's throat, people blaming each other for the state of the country. Well, I'm just wondering whether it's the U.S., Israel, what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. What are your feelings on the state of the world and where we're going? Because you've seen a lot more of it than Chris and I have.
Well, let's talk about October 7th. I always predicted that they will attack us. There was no question in my mind. I always said, why do you expect different results by using the same tactics? They used to throw at us 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 missiles. We went there, destroyed a few tunnels, and came back. That was not the question if we will be attacked. The question, really in my mind, that shocked me was their brutality. And a lot of people try to compare what happened October 7th with Holocaust. And I said, please don't. If you really have to make comparison, compare their brutality to ISIS. Even the Nazis were not that brutal. The other thing is, as a Holocaust survivor, I never thought that I will live and see what I'm seeing today. During October 7, I went through all the gamut of emotions. And right now, as a Holocaust survivor, what I'm seeing today, I'm saying that it's some of the most prestigious campuses in the country. some of the brightest young people that we have, future leaders of this country and the world. When they will graduate, they will become educated idiots.
Yeah.
There is no such that only one side is guilty.
It's true.
The other thing is, like in my particular case, I did something to become homeless. Okay, I made a mistake. For Iran, they are useful idiots. And like I said, I am a firm believer that things will get better, but for the time being, for a while, it will get worse.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And I never thought that people that are coming from other countries, Middle East, received here with open arms. And when they call death to Israel, death to America.
Yeah, including, I don't know if you saw it, because Kosher Dills, who we mentioned, has called him out. There's a famous rapper named Mac Lamore who was saying "Death to America" at his concerts, and he said, "I got carried away." I don't think you get carried away and start chanting "Death to America."
Why you are here?
Yeah.
Why doesn't the government send them back? This is not free speech. This is hate. Okay? And I don't understand them. If you don't like America, go back. Okay? And what people are forgetting, that Israel is not fighting only for its own existence. It's in the forefront to save the West. They're already here.
People are also forgetting that some of those hostages are Americans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing has been done. And at the same time, this particular administration, they are forcing Israel to fight with their hands behind their back.
That's how
And
the
they
U.S.
they make all kinds of threats, which is very unfortunate. My wish is that Israel would become independent, a strong ally of the Israel, but to do what they have to do without constraint.
And we have said that on this show, and us that have fought in wars and served have said the same thing. When they ask, and I get asked, what should we do to Israel? What should we do to help? I said, just leave them alone. Let them go take care of business. Just they know how to handle it. And that's what I said to Kedar as well.
Now,
You guys got it. Just stay out of their way and just let them handle it. And it would be over. It would be over by now. It'd be, and lives would be saved.
they're asking to save Palestinians, civilians.
Yeah.
How the hell do you save them if they are held hostage by Hamas and they are surrounded in apartments, in hospitals, in schools, and everything else, in the tunnels? By the way, just for your curiosity, Chris, I'm going to ask you, okay? Don't feel bad if you don't know, because a lot of Jews don't know.
Okay.
How many tunnels does Hamas have?
Well, I'm a Jew, and I wouldn't know how many. I know it's a lot.
Hundreds of thousands. They're all over the place. They're just
1,300.
speaking to how many?
1,300. Each one booby-trapped. How do you
I thought it'd be
kill
more than that. I thought it
No.
would be tens of thousands.
But it's
to
also,
be
you got to
honest
keep
with
in
you.
mind, Israel is a
300
country the
miles.
size of New Jersey.
300
So when
miles.
it's like
How
1,300.
how do you kill the terrorist without killing civilians?
Right, we've learned that in the global war on terror, and we learned it, and the terrorists that we were fighting learned that to be a tactic, and it was passed on from Vietnam as well. It's a tactic that those that are inferior fighters have inferior capabilities, inferior equipment. That's a tactic that they use to inflict damage on
They're
the civilian
booby-trapped.
populace,
They're
to win the hearts
booby-trapped.
to win the hearts and minds of, because they're not going to win a straight up battle. They're going to have to win the hearts and minds and the hearts and minds of the uninformed and the stupid to take to their side, which is it's happens time and time again, and we're just reliving it all over again. We're seeing it again.
Right.
And there's and our government's not going to do anything about it. The Democratic side of the government, because They want the votes. They're not going to stop people coming in their
Okay,
country. They're not going to stop illegals.
okay,
That's who votes
let's
for.
take at, okay, right now, I don't go normally in politics, but talking to you.
No, I did. I'm sorry. I took us that way, but I'm just going to stay in
That's
it.
fine.
We dabble, and I'll
but
get
I'm
out. I'll
going
get
to
out.
use Kamala Harris as an example, speaking from both sides of her mouth. We are supporting Israel, their right to defend themselves. Wonderful. But we will fight to have a two-state solution. Now,
Can't have both.
during the war, okay, when the war is over, to talk about two-state solution, okay.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
during the war, talking about two-state solution, that's empowering the criminals.
Well, you know what? It's actually something very similar to in this country. People want to talk about what do you do with the millions of illegal immigrants that are in the country already. We could talk about that. I've always felt like when we secure the border, you can't have that discussion until you have
have
the
it
secure
till you-
border
yeah.
because you're inviting more people to come into America illegally. And it's the exact same comparison you're making.
Exactly. There are no consequences. And since
again,
there are no
yeah.
consequences, people feel empowered, okay, not to make agreements. Did you know that the leader of Hamas, thankfully he was killed,
Yeah, I saw that.
but did you know that for one Israeli soldiers, they gave up 1,000 criminals?
Yeah.
Do you know who was among them?
No. I know that's Hamas terrorists, but
The leader of Hamas.
oh wow.
They gave him up.
One question I had for you, because you've seen all the evolution of Israel, and I said this to you when we drove over. People younger than myself, they've really only seen one person in power, which is Benjamin Netanyahu there in Israel. Do you think there needs to be some sort of regime change that things could eventually get back to the time where we saw Yitzhak Rabin shaking hands with Yasser Arafat, with Bill Clinton there? Younger people don't remember that there were times where peace was very close.
Now, Yasser Arafat, whether you know it or not, he was, okay, under the KGB.
Yeah.
They taught them how to start a revolution. Yasser Arafat is not a Palestinian. He's an Egyptian. The other interesting thing is, before the formation of the State of Israel, everybody that lived there was called Palestinian. There is no Palestinian nation.
Yeah, and that includes
It was
Yitzhak Rabin.
created.
Yeah.
Okay, now for instance, okay, have you seen the Hamas flag, the Palestinian flag?
Sure. I've seen both. Yeah, I know there's a Hamas flag. And then,
Does it remind you of something?
I mean, the colors, you think of Islamic colors, right? With,
It's the Jordanian flag,
okay.
except that they have somewhere on the left side, I think, they have a star or something, I don't remember, that was taken out. Palestine is, okay, Jordan is Palestinian. Did you know that the Jordanians threw out the Palestinians?
Yeah.
Did you know the Syrians, how many Palestinians they murdered?
Yeah.
80,000. Nobody talks about it. Do you know in Lebanon that they threw them out? In every country they've been, Israel is the only one that took responsibility to take care for them. Egypt did not want them. My father had a very interesting saying. He said the Jews are more Catholic than the Pope. Why they take it their responsibility to take care when nobody wanted them? Why the Jews decided to take care of that? Beyond me.
Yeah. But as I was saying, do you think we'll get back to that, though? That I mean, at some point, we obviously want to see this seized. Do you think we will get back to a point of relative peace. You know, there were times, even as current as the Trump administration, where there were times of peace,
Well,
and then as far back as I said to
you may not
Yitzhak
like
Rabin
Trump.
and Netanyahu shaking hands.
You may not like Trump.
I
His
am voting for Trump.
personality, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying at least he did something for Israel.
Yeah, he made
We could-
Jerusalem
we
the
could-
capital.
Okay, the Abraham Accord, Israel, okay, Jerusalem, Golan Heights. So at least one of the things about Trump, he's unpredictable. There's no question about it. But because he's unpredictable, he's also afraid. So people don't know how far he will go. Okay? And it's something that United States at this particular stage is showing weakness. And the Arabs, Israelis have never learned it. The world has never learned it. For the Arabs, appeasement is weakness. It is not what we talk about appeasement.
And you're saying the current administration is which I think they are. The current administration is ones that are showing appeasement.
Yes.
Or is it Trump?
Yes.
Because
Especially
I never
with
saw
Iran.
Trump appease anybody, but
Right.
maybe I missed something.
Right. Okay. Now, for instance, when there was with Obama,
Yeah.
they tried to appease,
Yeah.
with Iran.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah, I remember.
Okay, the nuclear power.
Mhm.
And I was asked to speak. And I gave an example of Chamberlain from England,
Yeah.
that he decided to appease, okay,
Hitler.
to give Czechoslovakia, whatever, to appease Hitler. And there was a euphoria. Guess what? The euphoria lasted very short period of time, and World War II started. And why does anybody believe or want to believe that Iran will give up their goal of having all, okay, the Eastern front not be in control of Iran? Why does anybody believe that? It's their goal. They've always wanted it for decades. And Americans, the world, they do not understand that Israel is fighting not only for its own existence. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again, but it's also in the forefront to save the West in America. Why would you have students in this country that claim global intifada, debt to Israel, debt to America? You are received here with open arms. If you're against United States, send them back. Why are they alive to be here? Beyond my comprehension.
It's because of the personalities and the people that the kids look up to, like the left wing, extreme left wing, Whoopi Goldbergs and the whoever, the musicians and so forth that are saying it. And it's the cool thing to say. Do they look into it? Do they do any due diligence on what they're actually selling? No, it's what's popular. It's what's clickbait right now. It's what the pop culture. It's what does Taylor Swift say? But it's not. It has nothing to do with they actually know what the hell they're saying.
No.
What the hell they're actually supporting. But
just because you're a celebrity does not make you an expert.
Yeah.
Makes you completely the opposite than an expert. But
I don't really have anything more. I mean, I really appreciate you doing this. When I reached out to Sami, what I'll say is that I saw the like I said, the video that you did, which people should check out with Kosher Dills.
Oh, let's talk about Kosher Dills.
Oh yeah, go for it.
How did I come on Clubhouse? Never heard of it. It's an audio app.
Yeah. Chris and I were on it, but we did like a 20-minute Q&A,
what happened
not 13, 16 hours.
A friend of ours, Adam Swig, opened up the room. never heard of Clubhouse. So Kosha Dills came to my place, put up, the bio, whatever he put in there, and Adam Swig opened up the room. They were in the room, coming and going, between 50 and 60,000 people. Obviously, the questions were not only about the Holocaust in 16 hours.
Yeah.
The funny part was a woman, which later I found out is a doctor, okay, asked, "Did you eat?" And I said, "No." And she said, "What would you like?" And not knowing the woman, in a joking way, I said, "Filet mignon." Guess what? All of a sudden, okay, filet mignon for 2 people. Okay? So many times I make a lot of jokes, but people take me seriously. And let me tell you an example. There is a program called Witness Theater. Students, high school students, meet for once a week for 8 months with survivors, Jews and non-Jewish kids, and interview them. And in Yom HaShoah, they show it to the public, And the 3 of us were from New York, so the driver, okay, used to pick up all of us. One of them is a psychologist, and she thinks that her shit doesn't stink. Okay, she even told the driver how to drive. To make a long story short, one time the driver could not come, and the next time I asked him, "Why didn't you come last week?" And he said, "Well, I had to be in Philadelphia," whatever he said. And I said, "Remember one thing. Only God forgives. And I forgive you." And this psychologist started screaming, "Sammy, I did not know that you're God." No sense of humor whatsoever.
So wait, the one thing I wanted to say though, and unless Chris has anything, what I was going to say
No,
though
no,
is,
I'm. Hey, Sammy, just so you know, and I apologize, but I am the flooding that went on with the hurricanes. I am managing 11 adjusters that are working to get people put back on their feet. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, I don't have anything else. So
no,
I know I've got it.
And I know, and I know you've been working real
Chris,
hard on
I know,
that.
I'm sorry.
Chris, if you still want to live, you know what you have to do.
Get you a woman in Kansas. There you. That's it.
So what I was going to mention though, I came across the video with Kosha Dills, and I thought you were great. So I emailed Sammy and said, I know you're in New York, would love to have you on the podcast. And pretty much immediately, Sammy said, "Give me a call." You gave me your number, and you said I could come on. I'll come in studio as long as you can get me to the studio. And you said, "Ask me anything you want, but I'm not going to be PC about it." And that's what we did. I think we got a chance to really get to know your story, get to know your feelings on things, and it's been an honor.
Chris, I'll give you another opportunity to miss.
He loves doing this.
I live under the poverty line,
Yeah.
and I overcame it by volunteering. And I used to volunteer for 18 different organizations, and each one gave me something that was missing in my life. My question to you is, living under the poverty line in the most expensive city in the country, what is my official monthly income?
I think you said this at the beginning.
Oh man, you're killing me, dude. I was gonna answer.
He's not listening. You see, he's not listening.
I think you said, didn't you say it was something like $1,500?
No, it was
$1,563 in the most expensive city in the country.
Okay, I was going to say 1,500. I would have missed the 63.
Right, and I'm still a happy person.
But the happiest parts of times of my life was when I lived in a no air conditioning, 1-bedroom room of a house that was in the most decrepit place in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was paying $200 a month for rent. And that was one of the most happy
Which doesn't
but
exist anymore anywhere.
yeah, that's nowhere. But Sammy, you're a good man, brother. And again, I'll find you a woman in Kansas, and as soon as I do, we'll bring you in, man.
And he's
We
still
can-
coherent after drinking like 3 shots of Tonto
But-
vodka all at
okay.
once.
But I want you to come to New York. Okay.
I've been telling him to come to New
have
York
you
for
ever
years
been in New
now.
York? Have you
We're-
ever
we're-
been in New York?
Oh yeah,
When-
he's
when-
been to New York many times. It's just been a
Oh
long
yeah, yeah, yeah.
time.
It's just been a while since I've been, but I used to come all the time. I do love being home with my family now, my kids, because I didn't get to experience that a lot in the years prior. So it's nice just to be home.
How many years
with my
did you
family.
serve?
18, and then give or take a couple more years when I was doing some more private military, or I shouldn't call it military, private
And-
contracting. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What rank did you?
when I got out, I was a first lieutenant. I was a sergeant, and then I got my officer's commission, and I became a first lieutenant, and then after that, I was medically discharged for bleeding stomach, and then that's when I started contracting for the next 10 years. So 8 years military, 10 years as a government contractor.
Well, Chris, I'm going to do one thing. With your permission.
Yes.
Thank you for your service.
Oh no.
God bless you.
God bless you too, bro.
God
Thank you
bless
for
America. God bless Israel.
thank you for being strong out there, giving an example for the kids. I appreciate that.
You know what I do when I speak to the kids? I salute them and I said I'm going to salute the future leaders of our country.
Yeah. And I got some
That's
great
awesome.
footage of your apartment actually with the saluting, with the different jackets that you have.
Right.
So it's great. No, thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you've done. And I should also say SamiSpeaks.com, which is SAMI Speaks.com. That's your website where you can learn more. You can see the books that you have.
Yeah.
And at Sami Steigmann Speaks on Instagram, SAMISTEIGMANN Speaks. You'll see the link in the description there, but for those of you just listening. And then also Facebook, Sami Steigmann on Facebook, right?
Right.
So anything else, promote whatever you want here. If there's anything else that, I know
If
as you said,
anybody
you
wants
don't
to
do this for the
contact
money,
me,
so.
you can give them my cell number or something. If they
Do
have
you want me to give
questions.
your cell number to the audience? I don't know about that.
Hmm?
You want me to give your
He
cell
doesn't-
phone number to the
I
audience?
always give it. You see it in my business card.
So does
Okay.
he have do you have do we need to give your Tinder account to anyone or
That's a dating app.
if you got it, man, I know you're picking them up. I know you can. You're pulling them in, man.
But thank you so much for the time. Really,
By the way-
really appreciate
By
it.
the way, have you ever visited the Intrepid?
I have.
Oh, the USS Intrepid? No, I have
Well, it's
not.
funny. He actually,
Guess what?
I was on there
Come
with.
here, and I'll give you a tour.
Oh, you got it, man.
I
You're a
was
good
on
man.
there with,
As
Thank
a
you,
matter
bro.
of fact, the former crew members, being in the Navy, got drunk, right? They did not know
Shocker.
they did not know what they were doing.
You-
Since they did not like me, they decided to punish me. Do you know how they punished me?
Made you drink more.
made you drink more.
No, they made me an honorary crew member. So now in November 11, I will march with them. For the
that's
past 2
cool.
years, I held the banner. So they have adopted me. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
very,
right. And I
very
saw the
honored.
jackets. All of that we'll put in the B-roll. So if you're not watching on YouTube, we'll definitely add some flavor to this that Harold could put in. But yeah, this has been absolutely awesome. I was going to say, it was on the Intrepid actually with a guy who interviewed you, David Webb, because I worked with David Webb. And yeah, so David Webb here. I got to do that with him. Him and Andrew's producer, Mike Binns, actually stayed on
Do you
the
know where I
Intrepid for a
met
while.
David Webb?
You said you met David Webb.
At a rally against when Obama wanted to make an agreement with the nuclear
With
powers
Iran, yeah.
with Iran.
And
Yeah.
I want to
And
correct
they-
something on that. I did. Obama didn't appease the Iranians. He empowered the Iranians. I was working when he was not appeasing anyone. He was colluding and empowering them. That's my opinion. So
I
there,
agree with you.
as I don't want to
I
ever
totally-
say
I
appease because
totally agree
he
with
was He was in cahoots with the Muslim Brotherhood more than any president that I've ever known. Him and Valerie Jarrett, and that was one of the reasons why we got attacked in Benghazi. But that's a whole nother podcast, man. We did that, but yeah, but that was one thing. The only thing I disagreed with you on when you said appease, like no, Obama didn't appease any Iranians. He empowered them.
I agree with you. I totally
sir.
agree with you, and I stand corrected.
Yeah, you're a good man, my brother.
Thanks so much, Sammy.
Listen, okay? I'm not as good as I look.
We will, Ian. If we could ever get the vodka in the bar, in the Islanders bar, or is it Rangers?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, the Islanders.
Man,
the Islanders.
The Islanders invite Sammy in. That would be actually that would be fun.
Excellent, man. I mean, they're gonna be putting the flag up, so yeah, we would definitely have him.
Chris, if you have connections with military people, bases,
I do.
I would love to talk there.
I will put you in. Actually, I'm speaking at a Ranger School graduation next year in May, and when I speak there, I'll speak to the Ranger Command and see what they say.
Now,
but at least they get your word out.
Okay.
You got
the
it,
interesting part is when I was invited to speak at the Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. The first lieutenant said, Sammy, instead of me moderating, can somebody else moderate? I said, sure. Why not? Guess who wanted to moderate? The lieutenant colonel.
Oh, got that too, man. He's in charge.
He's in
Lieutenant's
charge.
not going to moderate, man. We're not in charge of jack or shit.
So when I was at the what do you call it? Fort Drum.
Yeah, New York. Yeah,
Okay.
Tenth Mountain. Yeah.
Okay. The wife of the one-star general. Okay, it was a buffet, and when I wanted to go to a buffet, she said, "No, you sit down. I will serve you."
You go get it served. Yep.
And
That's how they are.
Yeah, and I normally don't ask questions. And I don't, I'm very reserved. But this commander, two-star general, okay, was very friendly. And all of a sudden I got my courage and I said, General, I have, okay, a, what do you call it, with the list, the wish list. And I said, I would like to be invited to come to, what is it called, the military base, the training?
What, Fort Benning?
No. It's the academy.
Oh, it's Annapolis. It's West Point.
West Point.
West Point.
Right. So I said I would like to be invited there. I would like to come to see them when they graduate, the parade. Okay, and I would like to see, okay, them again, a game against either Navy or Air Force.
Air Force, yeah.
Okay, he smiled. He didn't commit himself, but he smiled, which I took it as there's a possibility.
Awesome.
Guess what?
Guess
what?
Need it.
You did it.
They need to hear you there because they got enough liberal commanders there.
But what happened is he got his third star, and he was transferred to Pentagon.
But thank you so much.
Wish was gone.
But that's great. But yeah, thank you so much, Sammy. We appreciate it, and yeah, definitely have you on any other time. And
it's my honor.
You're a new friend of mine now, so
it's my honor.
Thank you.
That's all for this episode of Battleline Podcast. But we're always posting new content on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. That's an order. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes up every Tuesday. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. Believe in yourself. Face all challenges head on. And as always, never quit.